Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sophie and I'm better known as the Knit Purl Girl online. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for sticking around and sorry for the 2-year gap between uploads. And if you're a new viewer, hi, thank you for being here as well. It's really nice to have you. Yeah, if you don't know me, I'm a full-time knitwear designer. I release patterns regularly throughout the year, and I basically thought it was time that I kind of got over myself about filming because it makes me really self-conscious, and made some content because that is technically a big part of my job. So, and also I don't know, I'm getting straight into the rambly section of the podcast, so apologies for that if that annoys you. But I work from home all the time. My partner's out not working from home quite often, so it's quite nice to kind of have a nitty chat with somebody who cares, hopefully. I say that speaking to a camera, so strange. But yeah, it's nice to have a bit of a nitty chat and to talk about my different projects, because I've got a lot of different pieces to show you that are hopefully interesting. I stopped podcasting before because at the time that I was filming those videos, I was still knitting a lot of other people's, well, not a lot, but I was still knitting other people's patterns. And since then I've taken my business as the Knit Purl Girl full time, and I just don't really have time to knit other people's patterns. And I found I've tried to film a few podcasts before in the last couple of years, and I think it's quite easy if you're only talking about your own work for it to just sound like one massive ad for yourself, which I really don't want to do. And that's not me casting shade at anybody else or anything like that. It's just me being, again, quite self-conscious, and I don't know, I bore myself talking about it, like, because I'm thinking about these projects all the time, and yeah, I don't know how interesting it is. You let me know. If it's interesting, I'll make more of these. If it's not, I will go back to my Instagram cave. I was going to say that's not really a cave, is it? But I'll go back to static content. But yeah, I've got some really nice projects to talk about, lots of things that I'm excited to show you. So without any further faffing, because this is the like 6th take I've done of this introduction. I'm not a natural when it comes to video, I'm telling you. Yeah, let me tell you about my knitting. Okay, so first up, I want to talk about this sweater. So I am filming this on a day where it's 29/30 degrees outside. It is, I think, the hottest summer's day we've had for ages. So naturally I thought it'd be a really good idea to coop myself up in this small, really warm, sunny room and get loads of wool around me to, you know, beat the heat. But yeah, I'm in full-blown sweater mode again, and I'm loving it. I've just finished a collection of 6 summer patterns, which did include a cardigan and a jumper. But it's actually quite hard. Like, it's too hot for me to wear knitting today. I get to a certain point and I just can't bear it. But yeah, it's been nice to kind of be in full summer mode, but I'm a jumper girl at heart. Like, on the days where you can wear jeans and a nice jumper and some boots, like, I'm so basic, but it makes me so happy. So yeah, back into jumpers. This is the first one that I want to show you. Here we go. So this is called the Sennen Sweater. Here is the colourwork close up. I know it's really rode out through the yoke at the moment. I am just hoping that blocking is going to sort that out for me. I was just really sloppy when I was doing the shoulders, apparently. I think I was poorly when I knit the shoulders, and I just don't think I was concentrating, so whoops. But yeah, here we go. So it's got some lateral braid details, is that in focus, around the neckline, and also at the cuffs, which I'm very pleased with, and the hem. So I'm using Marina, I don't have any whole hanks to show you. I'm using Marina Skua Mendip DK, sorry. And that is in the colour Sheep on the Sunny base, because she has 2 colour bases. One is like this natural off-white and the other is a natural sheep's wool grey. And then the contrast colour is the shade, if I can find it, Sky, which is this absolutely amazing vivid sky blue. It's so cool. I love these colour blues. They make me really happy. I've been working on this piece on and off, I think since January. The initial idea was very different. It was going to be a sweater with lateral braids across in 2 colours. And I'm not sure if you can see from this swatch, but my tension was just all over the place, and for the whole sweater round it's just really hard to maintain. It's an idea I might come back to one time if I can find an easier method. I know that you can do like an I-cord cast off and then pick up the stitches along the cast off as a way to get a similar effect. But then I don't know, I was kind of, because even the swatch was quite difficult to do, when I tried to apply it in the sweater, I was like, no, I'm over it. I'm over the concept. I don't want to look at this anymore. And then I also tried a Latvian braid. I'll try and put like a picture here of how that looked. It just wasn't very good. The yarn is beautiful. These are also Marina's colours. I will write all of the shade information in there. I'm not going to do it as a caption here because I think it interacts with the YouTube's automated captions badly, and I don't want to make that cause accessibility issues, because I did that before. And but yeah, all the information will be in the description box. But yeah, beautiful colours, but yeah, it just didn't work. And then I went on a camping trip with my brother and his family back in May to Land's End in Cornwall, and we stayed near Senon, and the beach there was just so pretty and it was so inspiring. So yeah, we have the Sennen Sweater. This is a drop shoulder top down little number. I found the stitch pattern in this book. It's one I found earlier, which is 200 Fair Isle Designs by Mary Jane Mucklestone. This is a really great book. If you're somebody who's interested in colourwork design, I can't recommend it highly enough. It shows the patterns in lots of different formats, knitted up, in charts. It's really good. Absolutely love this book. So that's where the stitch pattern came from. But yeah, it's a really lovely knit. It's been really enjoyable. The yarn is just divine. It's so nice. It's sheepy, like it is proper sheep's wool. And Marina is just the coolest person ever. If you're not aware of her, you should be. She's great. She's so cool. But yeah, it's got such a nice amount of elasticity to it, and the colours are also vibrant. I personally love the Sunny Base, the off-white one, because the colours that she uses just pop so nicely. But the if you're into your more kind of like moody, murky shades, I mean murky in a good way, her cloudy base is going to be right up your street. I was looking earlier at doing the same sweater on the murky base, but I need to wait for her to restock. But I might do a 4-ply one. Maybe 4-ply would be really nice. Ooh, I think I've just sold that to myself. Yeah, so distractible, nightmare. But yeah, that is the Senon Sweater. I'm aiming to get this finished today, because again, why wouldn't you finish a 100% wool sweater on a 30-degree day? What a great idea. But yeah, I really love it. I'm really pleased with how it looks. I've done, with drop shoulders, I really like putting shaping in the body to taper it down. I love the kind of, to me it reads as quite 80s. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that is how the silhouette reads to me, I think, because it's like a big shoulder, which I've got relatively broad shoulders for my frame, and I think I find it really flattering. So I've adjusted the colour work. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this really. Down this, maybe you can at the beginning of the round better. Yeah, that's the beginning of the round. So yeah, I've done decreases through the body to adjust to accommodate the yeah, just to get the shape I want and have the chart still work. It's not ideal. You can kind of see, especially at the beginning of the round, it's not the best, but I didn't know how to do it better, and I think it still looks really smart. And then I've done. One of my favourite designs I did last year was the Cove sweater, and it was inspired by a jumper from COS that I saw that had this really cool cuff shaping where it was like you had the very visible decreases at the wrist all of a sudden, so you kind of get like a very angular, well, you get this shape, you get a very angular cuff. So there are some decreases through the sleeves, but then they're concentrated kind of in the last kind of half of your forearm, and yeah, I just think it looks really cool, and it kind of goes with the nautical theme of the sweater, I think. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I've got this little braid going down the shoulder as well where you pick up the stitches. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. I think it's really lovely and I cannot wait to use this yarn again. I'm trying to think of other colour work projects, and I think it'd be nice for cables as well, or just stockinette. It knits up really beautifully in stockinette if you're not lazy about growing out like I was in the shoulders. But yeah, it's going to be a nice one. So I'm hoping to get a call for testers going for this little number very soon. I will try and have footage of me trying this on, but again, I'm not doing it today. I've got a full face of makeup on and I don't want to get foundation on the neckline, and it's just too hot. I'm not wearing wool today, it's too hot. So that's the Sennen Sweater. I'm also going to make, I think, like I said, I'm tempted to order some of Marina's 4-ply wool to make a 4-ply version of that. But I'm also going to make a chunky version. That was my original swatch, again, for the lateral braid idea. And then for this one, where have I put the wool? I'm using my absolute favourite yarn combination of the Sandnes Garn Peer Gynt with Knitting for Olive Soft SIlk Mohair. These are from the PetiteKnit colour range. So this is Poppy, which is just, if you like your bright reds, it's so nice. And Ash, I'm a big fan of a very pale grey. I've just ordered, I do a free colour work pattern every year around like December to January in Let Low P. Sorry. And the main colour I've just ordered is very similar to this. I'm really excited for it to arrive. This is Knitting for Olive Blood Orange, which again, if you like bright reds, perfect. This leans slightly more orange, as the name would suggest, than Poppy, which is more of like a pinky blue red. But as I hope you can see in my swatch, they go together to make like this absolutely luminous red. And then that is Putty, which is again a very soft grey. I find grey isn't the best colour on me. I find it can be quite draining, but these kind of off-white greys are just about okay. So I'm very excited about that. I think it's going to be really cool in a chunky stripe, and I'm going to do, what I'm planning basically is just having the wave in contrast colour. So with this one, the kind of background stripe is the contrast colour, and then the actual wave is obviously main colour. But I'm planning on elongating the wave, so it's going the full 6 rows, and just having it on the main colour background. So I need to think about that a bit, and I will have options for both in the pattern and also just like the 4-row stripe, depending on what you want. Wave, not stripe. We'll see. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if it did. But yeah, it's just going to be like a graphic, like red-orange wave across the sweater. I think it's going to be really cool. Like I said, I've just finished a bunch. I've got them here just in case. I've just finished these patterns. So I'm really excited to have like new things to knit. Okay, so those are the Senon sweaters, which are now possibly going to be a trio. But anyway, next up is the April sweater. Oh my god, I've just dropped so many stitches. Ah! Okay, bear with. Emergency, there we go. So smooth. So yeah, this is the April sweater. It's another drop shoulder. Drop shoulders are probably my favourite pieces to make. I just really like the process. I like making the back, I like picking up the left shoulder, right shoulder, sleeves. I really enjoy the process. And I like how you can get a sense of how it fits quite early on compared to a raglan where, yeah, there's more room for manoeuvre, I guess. But yeah, this is the April sweater. I need to do about another 10 centimetres on the body, and then I want to do like a big chunk of twisted 1x1 rib. So this is inspired by it's not inspired by, it's a continued iteration. Sorry, that's so pretentious. I made a camisole using the stitch pattern. Let me go grab it. Back in May, I think I released it. Let me go grab it and I can show you. Here is the camisole. So it's using a really simple stripe. So it's mostly stockinette stitch. There's a big old hole there. What on earth did I do? I've like obviously not done my beginnings around properly. Whoops. Anyway, just throwing myself under the bus here. Yeah, you do the contrast colour stripes in a slip stitch, so it's stockinette for 4 rows, and then you knit 1 row in the contrast colour, and then on the next row you, if you're working in the round, you purl 1, slip 1 yarn and back, and if you're working in rows, you knit 1, slip 1 yarn in front. And you get this really, I think, quite interesting texture. Some of the test knitters for this did it all in one colour, and you still get this really lovely textured stripe effect. So yeah, I knew I wanted to develop this into a sweater pattern, and I'm really pleased with how it's going. I just absolutely love, you can tell that I'm like, I have a palette that I work to in phases, but it's using this lovely soft light blue and a vivid red on a creamy off-white base. Yeah, another drop shoulder. This has got some, for my size, some underarm shaping, just to improve the fit over there and to keep the fit consistent over there with the drop shoulder, which is good. We like that. I haven't done any body shaping on this one because I do want it to be a nice oversized fit. I think it's got about 25 centimetres positive ease through the body, I think, off the top of my head. I think that's the max ease, which for a drop shoulder is my preference. Obviously you can size up and down accordingly to suit your needs, but I find any less than like 20 to 25 centimetres, the shoulder doesn't drop the way that I like them to. I know that you can kind of have a more conservative drop, but I do like quite a full, like, I don't know what degree that is, but quite a full drop shoulder. So yeah, that's that. I am using 3 different yarns technically. I bought this yarn over at My Ivory Room in Chiswick, which is such a lovely shop. If you're in West London, definitely go. It's beautiful, and Valentina, who runs it, is so lovely. So this is from Rauma. So the main colour is their I'm not going to pronounce it. It's three strands knitting yarn. I can't do the Norwegian, sorry. But it's beautiful Norwegian wool. It's in this lovely creamy colour, and it's shade 101. I absolutely love it. It's beautiful. It's a really, you know, it's about the same weight as the Marina Skua yarn that I was talking about before. So if you're outside of the UK and can't get the Marina Skua wool easily, I'd say it's not the same, and Marina's product is really special. But it's not a bad sub in a pinch. But yeah, this is lovely. It's quite affordable. I want to say it's about £5 a ball, and you get 108 metres, so it's yeah, it's a really lovely product. When I was in the shop, and this is no fault of the shop owner, this was me not reading properly, I got a different wool for the contrast colours. So this is not 3 strands knitting yarn, this is Finul, held with a mohair, that both held with a mohair, but I'll get onto that in a second. So yep, Finul, Finul, you know what I mean, in these beautiful vivid colours. It's ever so slightly thinner, and I also think that this is a 2-ply. Yes, it's a 2-ply res. This is, I think, 3 plies, as the name would suggest. Yeah, so this is a shade thicker. It's fine for this project because where you're slipping stitches, the stitches get a bit fuller anyway, and where I'm holding with a mohair, it kind of like, the fluff fills out the difference. But I was knitting with it and I was like, I swear this feels thinner. I was like, oh yeah, because it's a different yarn. So yeah, I'm special, but you really can't tell. It's fine. And I slightly prefer the colour selection for the Finul compared to the 3 strands, but they're both lovely. I really recommend them both. Rauma is such a nice brand. And then the mohair I'm using is Gepard Kid Seta. So again, it's this lovely powder blue, and then a slightly darker cherryish red, and then, ooh, I think I'm actually out of balls of mohair. But it's like it's a colour that I would describe as like vanilla milkshake. It's a very nice off-white, makes for a really nice creamy white colour, which is my favourite. Yeah, I'm gonna aim to get the body of this finished in the next couple of weeks, I think, and get the sleeves on, and I think it's gonna look really smart. I did a slightly different shoulder construction. I think it's a very similar method, but you don't have a line of stitches here along the pickup. I just wanted it to be about the stripes and not introduce any texture, which is also what I did with the camisole. Yeah, so you can see it just. And then lastly, for my current works in progress, I've got the start of a little raglan. It's not the most mind-blowingly original design concept, but I really like it. It's in 1x1 broken rib, which is a stitch that I haven't used before, and it's, you know, really nice, and it's got some nice thick raglans. You can't see it, it's too dark, but you know what 1x1 broken rib looks like. But I've made I'm about to get to the compound part of the raglan, where the increased rate changes for the sleeves so that the bust measurement and the bicep measurement hopefully are more balanced, because if you don't have the compound raglan, you can end up with a sleeve that is much too big and it just doesn't sit right. So we're trying to avoid that. I'm hoping that I've got enough wool for a dress. I would really, really like this to be a dress, because I have wanted a knitted dress for years, but I am notorious for wearing my jumpers really cropped. I'm quite short, I'm 5'4", so that's like 160 odd centimetres, 164 centimetres I think. And I've got a very short waist, yeah, my waist is there. And I'm really bad if I'm wearing high-waisted jeans for being like, that's long enough, that's fine. And then I always regret it, so this year I've really tried to work on making sure that my garments are long enough and I'm not just being lazy. But yeah, I'm hoping I've got enough for a dress here. I think that'd be really fun. I am using I am using Knitting for Olive No Waste Wool. This cone was very, very kindly gifted to me when they launched the product. And it took me a while to get around to using it just because I had other projects on the go. But it's lovely. It's really, really nice. It's 50% recycled wool, 50% new merino wool. It knits up really similarly to their regular merino wool. It's a shade thicker, like I'm talking, it's basically imperceptible. It's just that they're both 50 gram balls, and this one is 225 metres to match the mohair, and the regular one is 250 metres, so it must be a little bit thicker. But it's a really lovely product, and I'm using it with their mohair because it is my favourite, and that is in the shade Dark Blue, which is really nice. It's like a slightly more purpley blue. I really like their navy blues paired with dark petroleum, or deep petroleum blue, I think it's called. But it wasn't in stock, and actually I'm really glad that it wasn't, because I think this colour is so pretty, and it's I know it's just like a different shade of navy blue, so it's not exactly revolutionary. I am aware of that. But it's nice to have something that's a little bit different from me, because I'm very bad for getting stuck in like a colour rut, as I'm sure you can see. But yeah, this is still quite early days. I ummed and ahed about what to do with this yarn for ages. I was like, do I want to do like a cable raglan or like a kind of Gansey inspired sweater? And I really hate knitting cables, so I was like, no, I don't really want to do that. I want to do something that I'm going to enjoy knitting, and I love textured knit. I really like kind of just knit purl textured stitch patterns, which is why my brand is what it is. I think it's going to be a very nice dress if I can make it a dress. I really hope so. I can't decide what I want to do for the collar. In the last couple of years I've gotten much more into casting on, setting up the raglan, and then just working through the yoke and then applying the collar. I find that knitting collar, as I'm sure you know if you're watching this, knitting a collar, especially if you do a double folded collar, takes quite a long time to do, and then if the design doesn't work out, it's just quite annoying, and I've ended up having to like frog back to the collar so many times, and if your stitch count is slightly off, it's just awkward. So I find that this is better, even though it makes the work in progress look much worse. It's nice to have a project you can kind of sink your teeth into that you know is going to be like a long haul project. So that's going to be fun. I'm excited for that. I can't remember if I said that was my last whip. I think I did, but I lied. I've actually got one more that I need to start up again that's in a very similar state. So I am actually getting married in November. I had to think about that. I got engaged last December, which is very exciting, and this is for my fiance. I never call him that. It's really weird saying that. I always say partner. It was very odd. My betrothed. But he has been requesting a new jumper from me for a few years. I made him a few early on in my knitting career, and they aren't great. They haven't aged that well. I was using a lot of roving wool back in the day, or like single ply, not really roving, but like chunky single ply wool. And I'm not such a fan of that anymore because it just doesn't hold up super well over time. And I was just making him a larger size in my sizing at the time, and that doesn't really work for him because he's very tall. He's a foot taller than me, and yeah, the fit was just not ideal. So I've made this for him custom graded to his body type. I am using Sandnes Garn Peer Gynt again because it is my favourite kind of basic no frills yarn. And I'm holding that with Alpaca 1 from Isaiah, which is a lovely second strand to soften up the Norwegian wool. And I just love working with the second strand with Peer Gynt. And that is in the, again, I'm really basic with my colour choices. This is a PetiteKnit shade from the Peer Gynt shade card. I think it's called Charcoal Melange, I think. The shade of Alpaca 1. It's 4S in Alpaca 1. That's what it looks like. So yeah, I think this is nice. I need to get back into it. Again, I've left it off just before I've gotten to the compound raglan. I need to find my spreadsheet for this grading again because I've got no idea where it is. But I'd like to be able to give this to him at our wedding. I think that'd be quite sweet. Like, you know, really kind of lean into the curse of the boyfriend sweater myth. But yeah, it's a nice little one. It's got some short rows through the back and shoulders, a thicker raglan, slightly thicker raglan. It's like a 2. It's been so long since I've worked on this. 2-stitch raglan, and I think I'm going to do a 2x2 rib collar because I think he prefers that. So that's exciting. I will keep you updated on this one. I've not knit, oh God, when was the last time I knit a men's sweater? I think it was when I think my first successful in the round project was a men's sweater, and I think it was the PetiteKnit hand-sewn sweater, also for my fiance, and it wasn't great. I hadn't yet understood gauge or yarn choice, so I was using like again a single ply roving yarn designed for 8mm needles, US 11, and I was using it on a 4mm US 6 needle, so you can imagine how well that went. I gave myself such bad hand strain, and honestly, I think you could wear that jumper as armour. The fabric is so dense. It's great over here because we live like we go on lots of long walks. So on a day where it's like really cold and you need to be wrapped up warm, it is great, but it kind of can stand up by itself. It is so dense. So yeah, he is long overdue a new sweater, and I'm very excited to be able to give this to him. I just need to remember where I'm at in the grading. So yeah, whoops. Okay, let's talk now about upcoming cast-ons. So again, I've got my chunky and maybe also 4-ply Senon sweaters to make. I bought, on like a completely separate note, I went up to Derbyshire recently with some of my friends, which was really fun. They might have spoken, like Laura, Lizzie and Caroline and Simona, who the first 3 have all got their own podcasts. I'll link them below. But we went up to Derbyshire in the Peak District, and in the village where we were staying, there just so happened to be a yarn shop, so we had to go. You know, it would have been rude not to. It was Peak District Yarns, very aptly named, and I bought 2 hanks of this lovely hand-dyed mohair. If you have followed my content for a while, you'll know that I'm not the biggest fan of hand-dyed yarn. It's nothing against it, like as a skill, I think it's so impressive. I just find it a bit overwhelming. As I'm sure you can tell from like what I've shown you here, I have very vanilla taste, and I find the irregularity of hand-dyed yarn quite stressful, which is so pathetic saying that out loud, like that is ridiculous. But I find it stresses me out. I don't like having to manage my skeins. I don't like, it stresses me out. Something tonal like this is great. I think this is such a pretty colour. It's called Fern, but to me it's like Limeade is the colour. It's so pretty. It's like a nice creamy shade. I love it. I think it's so pretty. I've got I've got 840 meters, so not quite enough for a sweater for me. But I could probably do a sweater, the body and sleeves of a jumper, and then get a different yarn to do the collar, cuffs and hem. I think that could be quite nice. But yeah, I think this, or I could hold it double and make myself a little top. I could probably do a t-shirt. I need to check, or like I can definitely do a slip over, but I don't know if I want a mohair slip over. I need to think about it. I think it's just such a pretty colour. The quality feels really nice as well. The way it's been handled is obviously very good. I don't know if it's the best colour for me. I don't really suit yellow and I don't really suit pale green. So it's a bold choice, which also might be where having a different, so like an off-white or something to break up the colour between that and my skin might be a good option. I find because I've got very yellow blonde hair, and it doesn't matter how much toner I put in it, it just reverts to being like yellow. And I've got my skin is quite like olive undertones, even though I'm quite pale. And I don't know, it clashes with me. And it's nice to kind of have like the friendship memories tied into buying the yarn. So that's exciting. I'm hoping to have a design concept in place by the time I next film a video, if I film another video. So I'll hopefully be able to update you about that soon. I'm really sorry my voice is starting to go. I can talk for about half an hour and then my voice just isn't happy, so apologies for that. The vocal fry isn't intentional, I promise. It's just my vocal cords don't work. But yeah, that's that. And then I've also got, I cast this on and immediately realised that I need to start over. But in my head, I've become a bit fixated on the idea of knitting myself a summer hat. I know you can crochet them probably much more easily into much better results, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, I've gotten really hooked up on the idea, pun the pun. I really want to knit a summer hat, like a big wide brimmed floppy summer hat. This is it's a Japanese cotton. It's 2 strands, but I started and then frogged. And it's really fun. It's a really interesting yarn. It feels like paper. It's really, really cool. I'm using it in this off-white shade again. I'll put the colour info down below. I started on a 4mm needle, and even though I'm quite a tight knitter, it was just too gappy. I think it needs to be on like a 3.75, if not a 3.5. I can't remember what either of those are in US 5, US 4, I think. But yeah, I will again keep you updated about this. It's definitely an interesting yarn. I know that it's used in a lot of bag patterns, and I can see why. I think it's really cool. So I'm looking forward to playing with this. And then lastly, oh no, not quite lastly, let's talk about, I want to make myself another, part of my summer release, I did an update of one of my old patterns, which is the Amiata sweater, which is this chunky raglan sweater. It's now got a compound raglan and comes in a few extra sizes. This was originally this shade of blue. Again, I'm very consistent with my colour choices. But as you might notice, it's now a bit darker. I had to dye it on the same trip where I bought that lovely limeade colour yarn. I managed to spill a cup of coffee right down it in the middle. I was really upset. I was just holding a cup of coffee, chatting, and it just... I'm very clumsy, very accident prone. So yeah, it's still... I over-dyed it, and you can still... It's wearable, like I can wear it around the house and up to town and stuff. But it's not the same, it doesn't feel the same. It's like a fine, comfy piece, but I want to make another one. I used Gepard Kid Seta, held with Mohair by Canada Mohair for the original sample. And the second one I'm going to make, because I find it a really useful piece. I really like how lightweight it feels relative to how chunky a knit it is, and it's just nice for... Like, we've had such a cold, wet summer here in the UK, so it's actually been really useful. But the main colour I'm planning on using, also Gepard Kid Seta, but it's one of their upcycled colours, and it's this really fun speckled shade. I'm going to hold that with, having said that I don't love hand-dyed yarn, this beautiful Seri Alpaca. I'm not tied to using the yarn. Part of me feels like it's going to be a bit wasted holding it with that because you're not going to be able to see the individual speckles. But I don't know, in a way I also think it might be easier because then I don't have to worry about like alternating skeins as much, and where I'm not super experienced using hand-dyed yarn because I do find it a faff. Maybe that is an easier option for me. But this is from the Camel's yarn, which has the most beautiful packaging. I bought this at Unravel Festival in February, and it's the shade Pebble Beach. It is their Surrey silk lace, and it's gorgeous. It's so pretty. So I'm going to cast that on soon because I'm in the mood for like a nice quick knit, and I can get that knit up really fast, which is useful if we have crap weather again soon. And I do really like how these pair up. I think that's a very good match. That's my swatch, that's what it looks like knitted up. So you can, like the blue and especially the orange and kind of pink, you can see the Surrey because there's colours in this swatch that aren't in the yarn, so I don't think it's a total waste, but I'd be keen to hear your thoughts actually. But it's lovely, it's such nice lightweight fabric and I just really enjoy it, and it's so soft, especially with the alpaca. My friend Caroline I know is very fond of Surrey yarns. I'm not the biggest fan. I found when I kind of did a lot of research into different mohair yarns and mohair alternatives, I find that Surrey knits up quite a lot thicker than a mohair, and I'm very much a mohair girly. I love a bit of fluff, and I've got tough skin. I'm not very sensitive to fibre content, so I can tolerate it against my skin quite easily. But yeah, I want to get on the bandwagon because you can get really good bang for your buck with Surrey yarns, I think, because they're really good yardage for quite a good price. And some of the colours are so pretty with what some of the hand dyes do, so yeah. And then lastly, I have another dress that I want to make. So part of my summer launch that I just did was the Camden camisole, which is this little number. If I stand up so you can see it properly, I'm like covered in different bits of yarn here, it's absolute carnage. So that is she. It's got quite a lot of interesting shaping through the straps. I think it's interesting. Feel free to disagree, but I enjoyed it. So that's what that looks like. I was inspired by the method that you'd use for a circular yoke, where you increase in wedges, not just at the outer edges of the triangle, but like a strap. So that's the kind of theory behind how that design works. And I really want a dress version. I've chosen these blues. So it's Gepard Cotton Wool 3 is the main yarn that I use for that pattern, and then Isia Trio 1. It makes for such a lovely fabric. I've used it, I made my first sample in some different colours, again they'll all be linked below. So it's this really nice like chocolate, like espresso kind of colour brown, and then obviously like the powder pink, which reminds me a lot of strawberry ice cream. So that's exciting. So yeah, I've got these colours. These are 712 and Sky, another Sky. Really lovely, I'm excited for that. I think a dress version is going to work really nicely because you can kind of hide the increases for the hips in the pearl sections of the rib, and it kind of evens out quite nicely. I think it works quite well. I'm going to put a split in it. I think like if I stand up, put a split like here, it's going to work. I'm going to like put it in the midpoint of the V, and when I've done the maths for it, I'll probably I'll update the pattern PDF with a supplement to for anybody who wants to also make a dress version. And if it works, I have, again, because I'm getting married in November and I've got my dress, but I would like to have something knitted, and I think a getting ready dress might be quite nice. So I've got some knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the shade Ivory. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 balls, I can't count. 8 balls of this. And I think I would want a second strand of like some alpaca or something just to bring it up for a 4mm needle. Or I can regrade it to work with a 3, but I don't think I want to knit a dress on a 3mm needle. That's probably probably pushing it for me. But yeah, if it works, I think that could be really fun as like a getting ready dress, because it wouldn't take too long to, like, that camisole was really quick to knit. Nice sleeves, the beauty. So yeah, that's exciting. I think that'd be a nice little project when I'm kind of stressing about other things, because it's quite a comforting knit, because it's you're doing wide rib, so it's not too much. It's not that different to stockinette really. So yeah. And that is the end of the podcast. I hope that this was okay. I hope I didn't talk too quickly. I'm very sorry if I did. I am aware that I talk fast. I can't help it. It's just how I talk. I'm really sorry. And I hope that my vocal frying hasn't been too annoying. Let me know if you want more content from me and what kind of content you'd be interested in. I can do kind of like a week in my life as a knitwear designer if that's interesting. Which is most likely sitting around drinking cups of tea, procrastinating, doing anything but like what I'm meant to be doing, you know. Or yeah, more kind of chatty videos like this. Just let me know, or kind of, yeah, let me know what you'd like, and I will gladly provide. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you're all well wherever you are in the world, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.